Welcome to the Pool Chasers Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Villafania, joined by my co-host, Justin the Bearded Plumber Bowie.
Thank you.
Today, we've got a very, very special guest, all the way from Australia, Matt Lord.
Lord.
Lordy Lord.
Make sure you get that right. Yeah. Thanks for having me all the way across the ditch.
Yeah. Excited to have you here. You were at Pace, I guess it was a year ago, snuck up on us.
Yeah.
But we wanted to do a podcast right after meeting you, saw some projects, and you're back. It's been a year.
I am back. It's actually been a year and a week because I planned to come back. I actually spoke with Justin during the year saying, let's catch up in Vegas for the Supercross because it's the day before Pace.
Yep.
Not knowing when I looked in my calendar, I was looking at last year's dates.
Oh, yeah. That'd be tough to make that one.
So it's been a year and a week since I was last here. But yeah, I've come back. I got Pace starting this Sunday. That's a 3-day event. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
Stoked. Okay, before we get into this stuff, what are you guys drinking? I know it's 6 a.m, but
Yeah.
just kidding.
And actually, what
time is it for
it's
you? Probably is close to 6.
it's 8 a.m.
That's
in
fine.
Australia.
Yeah. So it's actually
You're a trooper.
this is a late one. Usually we start a lot earlier than that.
That's awesome.
I've got the Valley beer as per Justin's recommendation.
Yeah. I had to push him on the old standby there.
Are you ready?
Let's do it. Ooh.
Oh, a bit of
That was
froth as
good.
well.
That was good.
Tell me what you think.
Yeah, it's good. As a very, very seasoned beer drinker.
This is his third beer ever.
In brackets, yeah, that's probably the second one. No, that's all right. That's
You're
light.
so close
That's
to me. I
light.
hope nobody ever spits the beer
Yeah.
out because I'm
Let's
I'm right here.
re-record that where he's more excited so we can get that sponsorship.
Yeah. Sorry, hang on. Ready? Guys, I've come all the way from Australia for this Valley beer. It is unbelievable stuff, mother's milk, and I recommend it to anyone that wants to give it a go.
Perfect. I love
Rent house, dude. If you
I'll
want
just
to
take-
sponsor after that,
I just take like
say.
15-20% cut off whatever you get.
You got
Just
it.
Send it over.
All right, I'm doing a new rent house, and historically things have not gone good when I've strayed, but let's give it a shot.
But
This
they make
is-
for really cool Instagram clips. So
They do. Yeah, here. Let's hope we go good here, guys. So this is black. Do you say that caddies? Black caddies? Black caddis?
I don't know, mate. How you say that?
Lord.
I won't do it again. We're done.
I reckon in the land of beer, that's got to be caddis.
Caddis, right?
How else would you say that?
I don't know, but it's got a fish on it, and I don't know. Regardless, here we go. So we're gonna give it a shot. Here we go. Ooh.
Not bad. Not bad.
Okay, visual inspection. This is dark. This is like, that is definitely like
This
Coca-Cola.
This didn't go well the last time you had a dark beer.
We're gonna give it a shot, guys. Here we go. That's good.
Is it?
No, that's not. That's not my shit.
I'm like, that doesn't
That's
look
not my
like
shit.
it's good.
You know
face.
what? You know what? This is as close to Guinness as I think you could get without having made it in the Guinness factory. That is strikingly close to a Guinness.
Are you gonna drink it?
Oh yeah. Mama ain't raised no bitch, dude. We're gonna
But that last one, remember that like $20 beer?
Yeah,
Did you drink that?
No, I couldn't go. That one. Not only that one tasted like Guinness with wine and chocolate. It was tough.
One of my
That's rough.
one of my boys that works for me is just getting into the gym, and he's more of a have a beer after work rather than go to the gym type of guy. Anyway, I gave him a tub of protein as like I can't remember what it was for, but I gave him a tub of protein, a bit of a kickstart, like, get into the gym. That night, I get a message, and he's saying, "I think I've just hit something pretty good. It's a Primus."
Oh no.
And he's mixed his protein shake with a Guinness. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone after the gym, down the hatch. And don't knock it till you try it, apparently. So
I can only imagine what physically happens to your body when it
man.
like at the same time.
it's either greatness or something not down that path.
That sounds wild.
Yeah,
That
so
sounds
anyway,
really
the
wild.
Primus could be a bit of an Australian delicacy
Yeah, for sure.
for the lords.
For the lords.
Do you guys still drink? What's the one that we would get at Outback? What's the beer?
Foster's.
Foster's. Is that a thing?
Foster's.
Even Australians don't drink Fosters. I
Oh
don't think.
shit! All right.
No, we're in the new generation now of 4X. That's from our good brothers in Queensland.
Really?
The rednecks.
Haha.
Yeah.
Bogans, right?
Bogans, that's it.
We learned a new word today.
Is
Oh,
that like
yeah,
off of Dos
4X.
Equis?
Oh, it's a what?
Have you heard of Dos Equis?
No.
Isn't it like 2 X's?
Dos Equis is Spanish for 2 X's, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have 4
No,
X's?
it's not that. This is
Double
just
the
like,
greatness?
Yeah, possibly. 4 times. 4 times.
So it's good, 4X.
Yeah, it's just like a hot weather, easy drinking. Very Phoenix, actually.
I like it.
Yeah.
Have
I
to look
literally,
that
I left Melbourne. It was 7 degrees Celsius. So I don't know if you can convert that back, but
We'll have a clip where we convert that.
yeah.
Really
and
going to
then-
have to figure this out because
Maybe
you've been
it'll be
talking
like-
about money and all kinds of stuff, and I'm so lost.
It'll be like that clip out of Rain Man. You know, all the numbers are like, but yeah, 7 degrees, and I got here 43 degrees yesterday. So 115 or whatever, yeah.
Maybe Pace will be here next year.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there a schedule for where Pace is
No,
at?
I don't think they announce it until the last day of the event. There's a bit of a like, it keeps you coming back sort of thing. But
Really?
yeah, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'm definitely open to anything. I love coming over here, and even today, we've gone around and looked at a few things. And for me, coming from where I am in Australia, and even generally speaking, like the Australian pool market, we're a drop in the ocean compared to what goes on out there. And it's I find it very interesting to see the scale, the size, how you guys do things, and there's that constant push that things need to be better here, whereas in Melbourne or in Australia, we don't have the competition. So up until this point, there's been a lot of people who have possibly achieved success by default. It's not because they're out there redefining and making sure that what they're doing is improving, it's just by default. I think that's going to change, and it will change over the next however long I've got ahead of me. But it's great to get over here because it gives me great perspective on things that I can take back and possibly implement into what we do. So,
Oh, yeah. Well, why don't you give people a little background on how you got into the pool business?
So I'm a second generation Lord pool builder.
How is your pool company not called like
That's
Lord's Pools, Lord's
that's
Force?
a missed opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Dude, all my companies, Lord's Force, yeah.
So, I'm second generation. My father started our family business, which is Coastal Pools. He started in 76. He sort of what I just said, he sort of ended up in there by default, helped a friend out doing some steel fixing. And then, one thing led to another. And before you know it, he's building pools. So he's done that for a long time. I came into the business in 2016. And at that point, I was fresh out of what we call year 12, like finished school. And at that point, I was very interested in the business and the service aspect of it. I liked the relationship building, and we sort of touched on it earlier. But for us, we're a very local boutique company. We've got 5 staff. We build about 25 to 30 pools a year. But it's a very personal nature of what we do. So what I love about it is I will go and, in the very preliminary stages, I'll go and meet a family and hear about their needs and why they want a pool, and meet the dog and hear about what the kids are doing on the weekend and all that sort of stuff. And then for us, the process may take 12 to 18 months to go from starting the pool to finishing. And by then, the kids are grown up, the dog's got a few more grey hairs, and you sort of go with them on the journey. And that's probably what I love the most, is I have a direct impact on their lives. And it just so happens that the swimming pool in the backyard is almost a byproduct of what we do. So
That's cool.
Do you think that's more of most people's upbringing in Australia to be that connected?
I think so. It's funny because I'm obviously been born and lived in Australia my whole life. So to me, it's almost second nature. But often people from other countries sort of say, oh, it's a very connected place. And it's even that whole thing of people they'd live in, say, a court or, I don't know, a dead-end street, whatever you want to call it. And they'd all catch up as neighbours and have a party out in the street all together. And that's just common practice. Everyone's mate, and more or less, it's a really nice sort of community feel to where I am and where I work as well. So I think that, it's probably a bit of a general thing that Australians as a whole, the way that we do business is a bit like catching up with your mates and again, possibly the flip side of it is because we don't have the level of competition over here, it's become very blasé over there that you can just be sort of a couple of mates kicking around and before you know it, you're doing business together. So it's different, but it's, very cool.
We shoot at each other here. That's
Yeah.
what we
Yeah,
do.
we're not allowed to.
Yeah.
Not allowed to.
Yeah. I
If
don't
we
think
could,
we are
would.
either.
Nah, and that's the other thing. Like, there's so many similarities to what we do, you and I, like, professionally, but then again, we're worlds apart. Like, there's so many things, even walking around the jobs today, that I look at some of the hydraulics and the plumbing and I'm like, wow, this is top notch. And then other aspects of the project, which luckily is not in your wheelhouse.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can sort of dust that one off. Oh, it's not us, but
Yeah.
but there's a lot of aspects of the jobs that are just so different to how we would do things.
Tell us a couple that you noticed.
So today, we went out to this job in Tempe.
Tempe, yep.
Tempe. There was a bit of a Lord twang on that one, but
Yeah, Tempe.
Hey, I'm not touching it.
yeah, keep to yourself. And so the pool was a nice pool and spa combination. You've got a raised spa there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got in-floor cleaning system throughout. So all very familiar stuff to what I do. But the formwork was a couple of flimsy, what do you call it?
Bender boards.
Bender boards, couple of bender boards and a few steel pegs. I reckon possibly when I was about 6 to 7 years old, I would have had a better chance of building something that was straighter than that.
Yeah.
But as you said, and we discussed, I said, what goes on here? And you said, look, so long as they get the minimum 12 inch.
12-inch top at the bond beam, yep.
Yeah, 12-inch beam, the coping tile goes on, it's all good. And what's the issue? And I actually said to you, yeah, there is no issue. And that's sort of, I guess, where I get caught up is the standard of construction in Australia is, I'm going to say 10 times what I saw and probably what I will see as far as the actual structures go.
Because you were saying a client would, if they saw that, because what we were talking about is like you shoot against that bender board. So the front of your beam is very straight because you finish it, but the back ends up all wavy because you're shooting against that flexible board.
Yeah.
And your clients would freak out. Even though it's completely covered and you've met your minimum depth, they would freak out.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we've had scenarios where, we've built a pool that's in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the bond beam of 300 millimeters. So, let's call it a foot. Is that 12 inches?
Yep.
Yeah, 12 inches, a foot, whatever you want. And, we've been pulled up that there might be a 10 to 12 mil discrepancy in that straight line on the back, which, keeping in mind, will be covered by this coping tile. But we've been pulled up on that, and rightly or wrongly, they are right that why isn't it straight? Well, we can make it straight, so why didn't we? And I guess possibly too far the wrong way, we've now delved into this really, really particular set of people and clients and even trades that we work with where the tolerances are down to 1 to 2 millimeters. Like, we'll build these great big structures, pools that are above the ground. And, I showed you some of the formwork, but it's like we're building a skyscraper.
It's
we're
crazy.
using, laminated LVL timbers for all the above ground formwork. And we're using dressed form ply and yeah, I mean, possibly we've lost sight of what we're doing. At the end of the day, it's just swimming pools. But these structures are, out of this world. And I guess the beauty of that is we'll end up with these pools sitting 2, 3, 4 meters above the ground, dead straight, dead smooth, like a precast concrete panel.
But I feel like you can tell when you see those pools done, they just look so straight and
What do you
perfect.
do? What do you do if a client calls you out on that? Like if your beam, like let's say the front's totally dead straight, and the area you're going to cover with the cantilever stone is just a little bit off. Well, do you go fix it?
If it's a pool that's in the ground and they're going to say have a what you guys call a deck, like a paving slab around, we don't see the need to fix that.
Yeah.
If it was to protrude beyond where the coping tile would be, of course we would sort out whatever we need to. But that comes down to us for the planning stages. That if we know the size of the coping tile they're going to use, we'll ensure that the beam is just undersized, so we don't have anything sticking out or anything like that. Out of the ground, where these pools are sitting up freestanding, it's a different sort of story, and it's one of those things that, touch wood, I haven't had to fix anything because we haven't got anything drastically wrong. And I sort of said to you today, but it's one of those things that we are so particular about checking up on these things before it's too late. And, you know, with concrete, you only really get one go. I mean, to fix something like that is not something I'm really keen on doing. But I can think of one scenario where we built a pool. It was about 2.5 meters. What's that? Like 13 feet, 14 feet above the ground. And the whole thing was, you know, huge amounts of formwork, and it had a negative edge, like a horizon edge, and a catchment pool. And we had to remove some timber bracing that was holding that formwork there, because for the guys to physically get in to spray the tank, the bracing was in the way. And we had a wall move.
Oh, no.
But only by about 15 millimeters. But I remember when the wall, like, we saw it happen and it shifted, and, you know, you just like throw everything out the window and just like, how do we fix this? And we did actually. Luckily, a lot of that section hadn't been shot yet, hadn't been sprayed. So we were able to re-brace it, straighten it all up. But in that scenario, the outside of the shell was actually getting rendered and tiled anyway. So we did have a contingency to be able to sort of straighten things out. But
good God.
It's just one of those things. You only need to have one or two of those moments. It's enough to either keep you up at night, or it makes sure that every other job you do from that point, you'd make sure that whatever you can do to make it right, you'll do it. Yeah. And I guess like a real blessing for me is the way that I've learnt how to build a pool through my father and the people around. They're perfectionists, and they've gotten to where they are because they are so just amazingly talented at the craft. I think as time's gone on, a lot of that craft has sort of disappeared from the industry, and we've sort of touched on it earlier that everyone's sort of fighting for a price rather than working up to the standard. And that's something I'm going to really try to keep on going for as long as I can, that we build up to a standard. We don't build down to a price, which is tricky at the moment, the way that everything is. But
it's like you said earlier, you know, you're almost like when competition gets a little heavy, you have to start, you know, doing things that aren't necessarily to your standard, because, you know, this is a business. We got to stay in business. And we get sucked into that sometimes too. It's terrible. You don't want to lower your standards, but sometimes you have to take little concessions, and that sucks.
Yeah.
And it can be really difficult when an entire industry is getting on board with something and it's like
all downgrading.
Yeah. It's like totally. You either got to figure it out or find a new profession almost.
Yeah. Or come up with a way to market what you do that sets you apart. That's where I am right now, is working out and sort of finding my feet as to how I do separate myself from the others out there. I think that our biggest sort of selling point is the energy that we bring, and we sort of talked about it earlier, but we're not just a black and white brand that we transact between you and me, and you pay me and I build you a pool. It's this whole feeling, and it's the energy that we bring, and all my guys love being part of what we do. They love to fly the flag. They love to talk about the brand, and that's something that I really want to keep honing in on. Is we are a brand. We're a collective of people all trying to do the right thing. So yeah, we'll keep working on that, similar to what you guys do as well.
And I think that's super cool. I mean, he was talking about how a lot of the stuff they do on social media and the branding is to kind of get new people interested in working for coastal pools. I think that's a really cool strategy in getting some new hip younger people to want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And why not? Real quick, I want to know what a pissed off Australian sounds like. Like, I'm sure you've dealt with some of these people. I'm just, because it's so chill and got the accent and all that, I'm just imagining some dude that's kept it together forever, and then he's just had it with his pool.
No, so I'll give you like I'll give you an example. Is our sport, which you didn't know this until about 2 hours ago, but our sport is AFL, Australian Rules Football. Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay. It's like an oval ball. It looks like an NFL ball, but they kick it to each other. They mark it.
So rugby.
It's like rugby, but it's actually quite interesting to watch.
That's what I kept saying. That's what I kept saying. But when you watch it, you can't even explain it. It's
okay. All right. Okay.
But there's like a stereotypical AFL coach, and it's always like that guy in his mid-40s who wanted to play football when he was younger, but he never made it. So he makes it his God-given mission to take it out on these like 13-year-old kids that don't really care about the sport. But when Australians can be pretty fired up people. I mean, like, yeah, I guess I've been lucky not to have to deal with too much of that. But I can't even really, to be honest. I don't want to butcher an impersonation and then like let the whole nation down. You know what I mean? There's quite a lot riding on the shoulders.
People are gonna want to be invited on the show. You'd be like, you want to hear a pissed off Australian?
Can I put it back to you? What does a pissed off American sound like? A pissed off Yank.
Dude, we could seriously just walk outside right now.
Blow the top.
We should get the guy that was trying to start a fight the other day because of all the parking going on around here.
Yikes.
We've seen a lot of stuff. I feel like more people are pissed off and they kind of wear it on their sleeve where it comes out like in...
It's tough times right now.
Yeah. Even on the freeways, man. People have road rage, pull out guns.
Yeah.
We just
had... Wild West.
So we just had a guy, our buddy Austin in from Florida, and he was like, dude, road rage is real out here. He had like a full-on road rage, and I was like, yeah, dude, we don't fuck around here. Like in Arizona, they're all carrying guns, and like they all are not cool with getting cut off. So
it's best for you to just
here.
chill out. Like even if you get cut off or something.
I was gonna say it's probably lucky I haven't been able to get a hire car up until this point. I might have got myself into a bit of trouble there.
Yeah,
they might be looking out for you. Maybe your mom's the one that called in. Yeah,
yeah. Don't give him a car, guys, please. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about your name. Like I feel like
still
I would constantly be like, I think this is what the Lord wants you to do. Like, and I would never kind of like, I want to tell people at job sites, but like, I think the Lord wants you to form this.
Man, that's actually good. From a sales point of view as well.
Oh man.
If we're getting tight with another builder, look, it's coming straight from the Lord, guys. So
yeah. We're just trying to spread the good word.
Yeah.
That's it.
Of the Lord.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about, you were touching a little bit on, trying to create an environment for guys to work, and we were talking about it. And you said something that I thought it'd be fun to share to our listeners, that you guys are experiencing kind of some of the same things we are, that guys are demanding a lot and working less, right? Or not the same as it used to be, I guess is the best way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are you managing through that?
Yeah, it is funny. Like the problems are just universal. Clearly, like even what we've spoken about today, there's so many little teething problems that I like sort of think when I'm not in this environment, I'm like, oh, no one gets it. Like you just like they won't understand. But in the conversation already, it's like, yeah, we have the same thing. Yeah, we have the same thing. And I guess like the main problem in Australia right now, in a trade sense, is there's a huge shortage of skilled people, skilled employees. We haven't had a huge issue with, retention or anything like that. Like the guys that come and work usually stay on for a good amount of time. But the biggest thing for me is like, I think about if I was working for someone, what are the things that I would appreciate, and what are the things that would make a difference to me coming to work and putting in 110%. And it's even little gestures, but like, I would hate to think how much I spend on coffees every week, because anytime I go see one of the boys, I'll grab them a coffee. And they're small gestures, and it equates to $5 for a coffee or whatever it is. But it's the thought that as the employee, you're not just a person there to, in your sense, glue pipes together and get out and do it as quick as you can. It's like you're coming with us as part of our family, and I'm happy to do whatever I need to do to make sure you're happy. And, it's that, I guess, respect that you give those guys and hope that you'll get a lot of that in return. And I've been very lucky with contractors or employees that everyone that I have worked with, I've got a lot of respect for them, and they've got a lot of respect for me. When I first started in the industry, it was something that I found really difficult. I came into a business that was sort of semi-established in what it was doing and who it was dealing with, and contractors and the likes of that. And of course, anyone, regardless of who they are, if they've done something for a reasonable amount of time and they get an 18-year-old coming in and reinventing the wheel, as everyone tells me, it never goes down well. And I had to just accept that that's what it was. I can't change the way that these people think. If that's how they want to think, that's what they're going to do. So we went through a period of time there where we basically cleared everyone out, started again, and I couldn't be happier. For me going to work, it made a big difference to how I felt. I was going to work feeling like I got guys on my team, rather than going to work and feeling like he doesn't agree with me, and constantly feeling that tension of clashing. So now everyone's sort of super aligned on what we're doing, and it just makes all the difference to the way people feel at work. They're happier, they feel like they're part of something, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's cool, especially if you're getting people that appreciate those gestures. You know, if you get them coffee or whatever, you know, it's kind of a slap in the face if you're getting, you know, guys that are good, but you try to do stuff for them and they just kind of, you know, don't appreciate it. They might even take advantage of you over
And you
time.
know what? Like, if we were to have this conversation in 10 years' time, I may be of a completely different opinion.
Right.
Because already I've shown a lot of loyalty and a lot of trust in people and been burned nearly every time.
Same.
And it's the unfortunate truth behind either owning a business or being involved in looking after people. Not everyone's going to think the way that you think, and not everyone's going to be able to do things the way that you expect them to. And I've possibly given a bit too much and seen a bit too much in too many people. And unfortunately, we're the ones that pay the price for that. But at this point in time, I'm sort of happy to say that I will keep on going how I am right now, because I do believe that I can be who I am and make a difference for other people. And I'm going to hope that I don't wear down over time, because traditionally you bump into people as they get older and older and older. It's like they had a bit of patience, they had a little bit of patience, now they got no patience.
Right.
And I sort of hope that I'm able to stick with my energy and what I want to do and still be the person I am and be generous with my time, my money, my effort, whatever it is. I hope I can sort of continue to do that for as long as I can. I can't guarantee it though, because yeah, look, you come out of a time like COVID for us where the demand was huge. We had a pretty tight crew that we could only do so much. The pressure from clients, suppliers, trades, whatever it may be. And you do start to wear thin a bit. But that's why, like right now, it's great to get away for even just 10 days, because it allows me to refocus on the bigger picture. For me is I want to do whatever I'm doing, whether it's building pools, maintaining pools. I want to do it from a place where I'm really genuinely happy with how I am. I don't want to have to go, you know what, fuck everyone else. I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I don't care what happens to anyone else. So I'll try that.
Yeah.
As I said, can't guarantee it, but up until this point, I've got a lot of patience for people. I've got a lot of patience for anyone that wants to make an effort to try and do better. And yeah, it's just about, at the moment, getting the right people around me that do want to try keep improving. And hopefully in 5-10 years, I'm still saying the same thing. But
do you guys have like this is probably a stupid question. We could edit this out totally, but do you guys have millennials? Is that a thing in other countries?
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Was that a stupid question? I didn't know if that was just a term in the United States, but
Nah,
do you have
it's
that?
common.
I mean, there's a lot of things we're surprised by. Like we were talking about holidays earlier. I mean, shocked that you guys don't celebrate Halloween.
Yeah.
That's totally insane. Do you know what Halloween is?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you cut a few pumpkins and put them on the doorstep, and
It's mostly the candy that I get excited
Yeah.
about, but
yeah. What is
pumpkins.
what is the celebration of Halloween? What's that?
Like
come
what
on.
or why?
Come on,
I don't
man.
actually know what it is.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, I know. I mean, it's celebrating. You know what? I don't know, and I'm not even gonna.
I don't know
celebrating-
100%, but I thought it had something to do with like the Salem, like witch trials and things like that. But
I know
don't
Dia de
know.
los Muertos is the Spanish one. That's like celebrating your ancestors that have died.
Oh, the Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it has more to do with that, actually.
Could be.
Could be.
We're gonna
I'll-
find out.
I'll back you in, Greg, because I've noticed you do a lot of reading and a lot of listening. So if anyone in this room is going to know, you're
Greg.
probably the man for the job.
Dude,
yeah.
I've digested a lot, but I can't remember shit. So
Yeah.
that could be. I don't know why they
Terrible
would
combination.
a
man.
holiday for hanging these witches that actually weren't witches, but
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, no, I've got no idea.
So what holidays do you guys have over there? Like you have Christmas, right?
We have Christmas, yeah. We have Christmas.
For
We
the Lord?
celebrate for the Lord. We celebrate. We have a day that's controversial at the moment, but it's called Australia Day. It's a bit like your 4th of July. Yeah, the way Australian culture has evolved, the way that we were westernized is in dispute, we'll say. But that's called Australia Day. It always has been called Australia Day. That's on the 26th of January. Apart from that, that's sort of, we have like Queen's birthday. Do you have that?
No. Do you have Valentine's Day?
Yeah, we have Valentine's Day, yeah. Queen's birthday, or now King's birthday.
What is that?
From
The
the United,
original?
yeah, from the United Kingdom, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So yeah.
So are you still because you have like your flag has the England's.
Yeah, the Union Jack on
Yeah.
the corner. Yeah, we've still got that.
Yeah.
So we're still a part of, and now whoever's watching this, they're probably going to know like way better than I do, but we're still associated with the UK. Like they're the Queen and King country.
I didn't know that. That's terrible that I didn't know that, but I
And
didn't know
it's
that.
Probably terrible that you don't know, but it's probably even worse that I don't know it.
Yeah.
But it's is there many places that are a country and a continent at once? Like, why is that? Aren't usually
Yeah, I think we're the only country that's
a
The
continent?
entire continent.
that doesn't have a land border.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Big ol' island out there.
That's it.
Is there any volcanoes out there?
No.
No.
Are you
Right.
guys cool with the, what do they call them? Guinea? No, what do they call the New Zealand?
Well, the
Oh.
Kiwis.
Kiwis, yeah. Are you guys cool with the
Kiwis.
Kiwis? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I love the Kiwis.
Unless you're Russell Crowe, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Actually, like
That's hilarious.
Russell Crowe, when he's doing well, I think he was possibly born in Australia but lived his life in New Zealand. So when he's doing well, Australians are saying, no, he's an Aussie.
Oh.
And then when he's not doing so well,
He's Kiwi.
no, he's a Kiwi. Yeah, he's definitely a Kiwi. that guy. So yeah, it is a bit like that. for
Those
sure.
Kiwis, they always do that kind of shit.
Yeah. No, I love the Kiwis. We've got actually one of our main contractors doing the shotcrete, the gunite. Beautiful Maori family. It worked with my old man for 40 years, 45 years, and now they're second, third generation, which is really cool to see. Great people.
How old are you right now?
I'm 25.
Nice. How many
Shit.
of your other businesses around you are there a lot of young guys in your business, or are you one of the younger?
Yeah, I probably would say at this point in time, with what I'm doing and what everyone else is doing, I'd be the youngest
awesome.
doing what we do, which is really cool. At first, when I started, that was probably my biggest insecurity, is that I'm this young person trying to win in an old man's game sort of thing.
Right.
And then as I sort of progressed and kept going, I realized it's my biggest asset. For what we do, there's no one that brings the amount of energy that we do. There's no one that has the amount of enthusiasm we do. So it's actually become a huge benefit for me. There is a few guys. I've got a close friend that's in the industry who came over. We met briefly last year from East Coast Swimming Pools. And he's doing a great job. He's in a slightly different geographic area. But
Where is he again?
he's on the Mornington Peninsula in Melbourne as well.
Okay.
But he services like the other coast. So
Gotcha.
he's sort of there, we're sort of here, if that
Gotcha,
makes
gotcha.
sense. But
Yep.
but he's doing a great job. But more or less, I mean, I think the sort of person I am is in a way sort of built for what we do. I've got huge amounts of patience. I'm really sort of approachable and friendly, but I think the pool industry in Melbourne got so outdated and so old school that it was like a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. It's like, oh, this guy's actually interested and he cares about what he's doing. So yeah, I sort of say I'm probably one of the younger ones in it. But I do feel like I've got a bit of an old head on my shoulders, and I feel like a lot of the business sense probably comes quite naturally to me. And I guess growing up in a family business environment, like, it's funny, even little things, but you become hyper aware to the goings on of a business and what it takes to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
And even little things like the cost. Like I spoke to you in the car and I was saying about something as simple as like one of the guys forgets to clean up a job site. Straight away in my head, I've calculated the time it takes to drive back to the job, pay his wage, put fuel in the car, wear and tear on the tires, and then the lost productivity somewhere else. It's a blessing and a curse that I'm hyper aware to these things, which I think has overall helped me a lot in running and managing a business.
I was gonna say, isn't that a good thing?
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great thing, except for when you want to have a good night's sleep and
not
all the
go
other
crazy.
things that go with it, and then it's not so good. But
Is that your favorite part of the business? Is like running the business?
look, to be honest with you, when I first started, I started off like as a labourer, just going to work, doing whatever needed to be done, stuff like not glamorous stuff at all, like doing cleans of pools before we do the interior, shoveling mud when the walls have caved in when we've dug a hole, all the bare bones basic stuff. But at the time I didn't realise, but I had to do that. Otherwise I couldn't do what I'm doing now. At that point in time, all I wanted was to have my own office. It's funny, I actually joke about this all the time, like with my partner, but my dream was to be able to get up, go to the gym, and get to work at like 7:30, get a coffee on the way, go to the office and set myself up. I used to say like, oh, it'd be so good to be able to just do that. Like I hate the fact that I've got to go to the yard and load up at 6:30. I've got to get to the job at 7. I've got to be out in the heat. I had this thing in my head that the office was going to be the be all and end all. I thought this is going to be great. Man, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. Like the problems that I had then, I wish I had those problems now. It was easy days. Physically, it's quite hard, but that instant gratification you get from building something with your bare hands and, you know, starting the day, you've got, let's say for you guys, you got a hole in the ground. And at the end of the day, you got 25 pipes in the right place and it's all scaled off a plan. And there's a lot of, I guess, satisfaction you can get from that. Now I've ended up in a role where I'm more on the back end and keeping things in order. And it's a bit like the thankless task. Like I said to you earlier, I don't know how you keep on top of what you do. There's so much documentation that goes with it. And it's the thankless task that has to happen to keep things moving. And so I've gravitated towards like doing all of our sales and managing the business, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I do really enjoy it, but it's such a different position to what I thought it would be. I think because of the way that social media has gone, running a business is viewed as this glossy thing. Like right now, I've probably got 50 people on my Instagram say, man, you go away so much. Like that's, whatever you're doing, it must be just easy. That's great. But like I always say, the work that I do during the week and on Saturdays and Sundays and, 8 p.m. on a Friday, whatever it is, they're the things that people don't see, don't appreciate, but they're the things that have to be done. So yeah, I guess I do love the position I'm in at the moment. I do like it and it's where I wanted to be. It's just so different to what I thought it would be.
It's 100% right.
Yeah.
And I feel that too, big time. I remember, like you said, when I was coming up, I just wanted to be on my phone, like feeling important. Like I wanted guys to call me and me have to be the guy who gave answers. And I would like to throw my phone into a ditch.
Man,
that's hilarious. I've never heard you say that. Now that's all you do.
I used to see the guys jump out of their F-250 and be like, yeah, like get the brick. And now
hot shot.
Yeah, now it's like, hey, your guy just like ran over my plant. And then the other one's like, hey, this guy's not, he's sick today. And this one's like, hey, we got to pay that and we're not collecting money.
That's the thing, man, is I've got like phone anxiety, which I'm sure you do too, because my phone only rings when something's wrong. No one ever rings to say, hey, Matt, I just want to let you know your guys have just left and it's absolutely fantastic.
No, they don't call for that.
As you said, the plant's been squashed. This has been done. That's been done. It's always things that can be fixed, but it's like, man, why can't these calls go to someone else?
Right.
But again, that's the task I want. This is the life that I wanted. That's the task that I need to do. But yeah, the same thing. I used to think like, I would see, for example, my old man, his phone would ring all day. I'm like, geez, this guy's like in high demand. That must be awesome. And then when it happened to me, I was like, same as you. Can I throw this phone out? Like, I would love to just be able to go, see you later.
Yeah, it's tough.
So what what part of the business do you like best now? I mean, I know you don't like dealing with the headaches and stuff, but did you want to, because you're a good business person, a great one, did you want to get out of like plumbing in the field and manage like crews and manage a business?
So since my father was a lifetime business owner and all that stuff, I had it in me to always want to own a business. I thought that was like for no other reason other than he modeled it for me, right? But so to answer your question, that's what I wanted. That's what I always wanted. To answer your question about what do I like the most now, for sure my favorite thing to do now is take a project and take it from like, tell me what you want and then build out the plumbing plan for it. That's my favorite part. I like when I get something really complicated that we have to figure out and I can figure it out, put it down on a plans, and I love that finish line when you're like, all right, I got it all figured out. Here's the plan. My plan's perfect. Now let's execute.
That's sick. I like that.
Yeah.
How often do you get to do that?
Not often enough. Most of the time I'm talking to the guys that we ran over their plant.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
From the outside looking in, I mean, I really don't think you guys give yourself enough credit for what you've got going on here. It's for someone from a little spot in Melbourne, like it's mind blowing the things that you've got going on here with JMax and JMax Mechanical and all the stuff you've got going on as well, Greg. Like the way you bring it all together. And I mean, for example, you were telling me you do sort of 70, 80, 90 hours a week. Yet I've flown over and you've devoted like more than half the day just to catch up, and I've met you once, and you know, it's like I've known you for 20 years and like my whole life or whatever. But that's a testament to the way that you're able to do things. And I think you really don't give yourself enough credit that the level of detail and the perfection that you guys are actually achieving is all because of what you're able to do yourself. And man, honestly, I'm so impressed. Every time I speak to you, I'm like, I don't know how this guy does it.
I appreciate that.
It's even crazier than you see.
Yeah.
I think it's because, like, he's also like consistent. I feel like, unless you're like on a crazy vacation, I don't know what kind of vacation this would be.
All the way to Australia, maybe.
Like, I feel
Hopefully.
like if you see a notification of something you have to answer, like no matter weekend, time of night, morning, whatever, like you just handle it, like rip it off like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the most impressive thing. I'm like, man, if everybody, including myself, like just like was faced with a problem, took care of it, just addressed it, got it over with, moved on, like things would be so, instead of just being like, I don't want to fucking deal with that, instead of it stacking up behind you.
That is a trait that I have. I can make decisions really fast.
Yeah.
But it's like
fast.
they say, you know, fail fast. Not all of my decisions are the right decision, but I'll make a decision fast. There is no like bullshitting around and like figuring it out.
And that's the biggest thing that I've sort of learned with what I do is the cost of opportunity costs a lot more than what the cost of failure will. And I find that the cost of sitting around going, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. By that point, it's gone.
Right.
You may as well have done it, tried it, and it might have gone well, and you'd be off.
Yeah.
But so many people never get past that initial idea stage. And look, most successful people are ordinary people that just repeatedly show up and do the ordinary things. They answer the phone when the phone rings. They get back to people when they need to. It's not a complex art. Like, running a business is not a complicated process. But it just takes a commitment that, as you said, if the phone rings, you answer the phone. You give them the answer they need or whatever they need. Like, to me, I've tried to be as accessible as I can. Do you guys say accessible?
Accessible? Yeah.
Yeah, accessible.
We say it with less of a bogan.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, that was a redneck in me coming out. But I try to be as accessible as I can because I know that when I was in the field and I needed to call someone and no one would answer,
Totally.
I would leave the job. I'd feel defeated. I'd feel like I didn't have anyone to go to. And that over a prolonged period of time builds up. So back to what I said about how I want to make people feel that work with me. The boys know they can call me anytime. And if I don't answer, they'll know that I will call them back. If I didn't answer, they'll know I couldn't answer. But if I sit around and my phone rings and I'm halfway through doing something, I'll always pick up for the boys because that phone call carries a lot more weight than the 15 seconds on the phone. It's the fact that they feel like they can call me with a question, whether it's simple, complicated, and they know that I'll help them if I can.
Yeah.
And I think that is worth a lot.
Was there anything else in business besides, you know, what we just talked about that like you found surprising, like when you got into business and started going? Does anything else stick out to you? Like, I did not realize it would be that way.
One of the things that really probably blew me away as a pool builder ourselves is how much it costs to operate.
Sure.
And you guys are the same, like you got the yard, you got the cars, you got the insurance, rego, whatever it might be. But I had no idea how much it costs to go out and earn $1. And I don't think enough people do understand how much it costs to go out and earn $1. So we touched on it earlier in the car, but I said the biggest issue in Australia is contractors that work for an hourly rate that are passing on knowledge and wisdom that otherwise a builder would. They don't realize they're actually undermining the whole lot. And what they're undermining is me, who's got 7 vehicles or whatever it might be. We've got a yard, we've got an office, we've got membership, we've got licensing fees. They're not paying for all that. They're showing up in their ute out of their garage with a bag of tools that was $1,000. Of course they work for $60 an hour or whatever it might be, but that's the biggest thing that I had zero grasp on how much it would cost for me to go out and earn a living. And I think as a small business owner, that's where everyone obviously comes unstuck, is that those costs stack up far too quick for what most people can handle to go out and earn something. So yeah, it's bit of a crazy one that the cost just to turn the lights on, as we say, that's a lot of money.
It's insane.
And when you start looking at small mistakes or things that aren't right, such as not cleaning up a job site, it's as simple as that. That's a $500 mistake for an hour's work, not even an hour's work. Yeah. We do 30 pulls a year. You add that up across every job, that's a fair bit of money straight down the drain for no reason other than someone not doing what they're meant to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of those ones. It's the fine line between being too tuned in on that bottom dollar and getting the blinkers on, but just being aware of what goes on in the background so that you can go and do these better, bigger things that you might want to do. Yeah. How about you? Like, what's the biggest sort of shock for you?
I think cost of doing business is definitely one. I think, I've said this on other times we've had podcasts, but I think anybody who's listening to this thinking about going into business, just understand that when you will throw away maybe some years more money than you will make, because we have bad debts, guys who don't pay, we make mistakes, you have insurance stuff. I mean, it's not uncommon for us to not be able to collect $50,000 to $100,000 in plumbing work every year.
Yeah.
And it just goes out the window.
Yeah, briefly this morning we were driving and Greg said, "Oh, we did this pool. Well, that was for a builder, but he went bankrupt."
Yeah.
Pretty common around here, and I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
And that's it's
tough.
a scary thing, isn't it? It's a necessary evil.
Right.
But you need to deal with them to be able to make a living.
Yeah.
But you don't want to rely on them too much because we all know what can happen. So.
But these guys who are coming up now, like, again, not to keep saying what we talked about earlier, but we talked about earlier, owner-operators, they don't understand, man. They're looking at like, okay, the pipe cost me $100, it's going to cost me $90, and I'm going to charge $300.
Yeah, and they forget the glue.
Right.
They forget the cost of the glue, and they go, that's all right. I'll get on the next one.
Yeah. But extrapolate that out, and it's like, okay, but yeah, every 5 jobs, it's going to cost you $1,000 on a mistake, and then every 15 jobs, you're not going to collect it.
Yeah.
So guys miss that.
Yeah.
But the other thing that surprised me in business was how different things would be. Like, I always felt like, all right, give me a set of problems, and I'm going to build processes around it, and I'm going to fix it. Okay, we got it figured out. Go. But no, next year it's completely different. And then the year after that it's completely different. And like, so I have never gotten to a point now where like I can fix everything and then the problems stay within those processes we built. It seems like
new level, new devil. That's what they say.
What is it? Level and devil?
New level, new devil.
Yeah, that's right. New level, new devil. And sometimes same level, new devil. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So that was the most shocking thing for me, or has been.
And I can imagine, like, for you, it would be quite a hard thing because you're obviously very proud of what you do and a bit of a perfectionist in the way you go about things. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that would be a tricky thing to do, that you're not the one there that's necessarily sticking the pipes together. So it's about how you pass that on. And I mean, we touched on it earlier, but I'd love to know a bit more about how you're able to pass on that level of detail and consistency onto your guys, because it's something that's quite admirable that you've got 32 guys out there all working to such a high sort of standard.
Yeah. We mask that by not posting any of the bad stuff.
Yeah, that's good. You got 100% success rate.
Yeah. No,
100% of the good jobs.
I think I said it earlier, we're not hitting a batting average of 500 or whatever. We make mistakes. We just always fix it.
Yeah.
So we got some guys who don't make the mistakes anymore because they've been with us long enough and they know what we expect. And our guys are different. I think you pay all your guys hourly over there, right? Normally, or
my employees are on a salary.
Okay.
Based on like a 36-hour working week.
Okay. So most of our guys are getting paid on a piece rate.
Yeah.
The installers.
Mike said that, and I was like, what?
Yeah. So it's that's how this business is. That's not how I would like to do it personally, but that's how this business is. That's what they're used to. So they don't get paid to go back and do repairs. It still costs me money and loss of productivity. I pay for the fuel, the tires, the trucks, the tools. But so it's they start to get too many repairs. They go, shit, I'm losing out on doing a new job. So yeah, that's how we get those guys is to our standard is they make mistakes. We always catch them. We always make them fix them, or we fix them ourselves. And then eventually you rein everybody into where you need them.
Yeah.
But we're constantly reining guys in because we always have new guys coming in. New guys are promoting up and stuff. It's crazy. It's a lot.
It's something that me and my dad have talked about a lot is in Australia, we think like when you finish school, you should be forced to go and work for yourself as a contractor for 2 years before you go to university, before you go to college, whatever it might be. Because it gives you an understanding and appreciation for $1, because you know what you've got to do to go out and earn that. And you know that if you forget to clean the job site, you've got to go back in your own time with your own fuel, in your own car, or whatever it might be, and you got to fix it. Same as what you're saying there, that it's that responsibility that people start to take on, that if I fuck this up, I lose.
Right.
Rather than just going,
Company.
oh, I stuffed this up. Oh, I'll have to go fix it tomorrow. And I get paid for that.
Right.
It would be a very interesting, like a little case study we could do, whether that makes or has an effect on the way people go about things. Because if it's your own dollar, like, you're a lot more conscious of how you spend your time and how you do something. If the employee mindset is just like, oh yeah, just do it. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh well, I'll fix it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But there's no understanding and there's no value around what that actually costs. So we've been saying for a long time, like, it'd be a great way to give everyone a decent head on their shoulders that appreciates and understands what it costs to go out and make a living, whether it's big, small, whatever. But
Yeah.
it'd be an interesting little study to do. See what it.
I see our guys sometimes, like, they'll mishandle tools. It'll be like $1,000 tool, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know, I lost it. I fell out of the truck." But then it'll come time to like payday, and they're like, "Hey, you missed that $10."
Yeah.
I'm not leaving here until that $10 is fixed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, funny how caring you are on that $10 that's yours. But
Or
that
the
1,000
brand new trucks with, mirrors and
ripped off of them.
Yeah, all kinds of crazy.
There's got to be a certain level of love and appreciation for the stuff that you own and your work trucks, but at the end of the day, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like it just like chinks your heart. You go, oh, another tool, oh, another car.
Yeah.
But it's the nature of the beast, I guess. And
Yeah. It's just another one of those things. You just gotta. It's part of the gig.
yeah,
It's terrible. But
So I'm curious.
about your name, Lord.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's go back to that.
I feel like I have a good idea of sort of the style of the pools and landscape in Australia, just from so much local project I told you about.
Yeah.
But maybe you could talk about, what are some of the trends? Because I think the culture there is a lot different than here.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't have to sell somebody on, what it means to somebody to have water in their backyard, because you guys like kind of grow up
Yeah.
around in water.
Yeah.
So maybe you can just talk about that.
So, pools, specifically in my area where we work and where I live, it's not so much like a tick the box approach. It's not just like, oh, we'll get a pool. I don't care what it is. Just put it in the backyard. We'll have a swim. That's it. The climate, traditionally, we only have about 4 months of the year, 5 months of the year where it's swimmable.
Oh, wow.
So, like, take spas and stuff out of that. But for a pool, you only got 4 months of it. So it's about getting across to the client that they're going to invest a considerable amount of money. So how can we make this investment they're about to make something they can enjoy all year round? So whether it's through stuff like lighting, automation, or then having like a spa or what do you call it, a jacuzzi?
Spa.
Spa?
Yeah.
Oh, you do call them a spa?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So there's things like that we start to look at when we go direct to a client. Is the biggest thing we say is how are you going to use it? And often it's a family, they've got a couple of young kids. They might have one aspiring sportsman in the family, and so they really want to have a spa for that after the game, recovery, whatever it might be. But generally speaking, the pools that we build are like fully automated, self-cleaning, fully tiled. The biggest difference from us to you, I think, plaster or pebble interiors is like, for us, maybe 2 pools a year out of the 30.
Wow.
The rest are fully tiled.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I said to Greg earlier, like, the detail that we achieve with our finishes is like, you guys would be mind blown if you saw it. All the pools that are fully tiled, we render them out to the next full tiles. There's never a cut tile.
Sure.
All the vertical, like miters, like where the tiles meet, we miter every single tile. So you don't have the edge of the tile showing.
Yeah.
It's just a perfect crisp edge. They're things that I can't explain why they're better, but when you look at a pool with that level of detail, it really sets that apart from a pool in the backyard. So traditionally,
It almost looks fake. Like
Yeah.
it almost looks like something you've never seen before.
you combine that with some of the state-of-the-art water chemistry controllers and chlorinators and stuff like that we're using. And often, like, we've got one pool in particular, they're a 2-inch by 2-inch, I'm getting into it, mosaic tile, ceramic mosaic that's got a pattern on each tile. So one's got like a zigzag, one's got polka dots. They're all light blue. when you look at them from afar, it just looks like a mottled blue tile, like just random blue tile. When you look up close, it's got this pattern on it, right? On this one pool in particular, the pool's 2 meters deep, 8 foot, something like that. You can see the pattern on the bottom of the top, like on the floor of the deep end, because the water is so clear. And it literally looks fake. It looks like you're looking through a lens.
That's cool.
I can't even explain it, but yeah.
What are you guys using out there for
sanitizing?
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're still like predominantly doing salt chlorinators.
Okay.
9 out of 10 pools would have a chemistry controller like a IntelliChem or something like that. We're also going down the path of like UV and ozone as a secondary sanitizer. I think they will have more of a spot in our market as the years goes on. Are you guys doing much ionizers?
Not much, but definitely doing them.
Yeah.
But UV and ozone,
Not doing it.
That's like super common.
Yeah. Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost less common to see it without.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
So have you heard of Clear Comfort?
No.
No?
No.
Are they in Australia?
Call AJ right now.
Yeah. This episode's brought
It's
to
an
you.
AOP. Are you familiar with AOP? Advanced oxidation. So it is like I think you would call that an ionizing product.
Is it like a copper silver based?
They use corona discharge.
Okay. No, I haven't heard of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Looking at AOP.
AOP. Yeah.
AOP. I'll look into it.
That's just what. There's a bunch of products that achieve AOP.
Yeah.
So next episode, so you'll learn all about it
cool.
on there.
I'll
Actually,
tune
yeah,
in.
that's right. Our next episode.
Tune in. But yeah, so I mean, to circle back to your question, Greg, like predominantly pools that we build are either an architectural building, like a new home, or we still do a fair few private jobs where we go direct to a client. We call them like a mum and dad backyard job, where the house is existing, we build a pool, they do a landscape, off we go. Typically for us, we would do like a 10 meter by 4 meter pool. Don't know the conversion on that, but
It's fine.
with a pool, a spa, and then possibly like one wet edge, like a horizon edge, or a raised spa with a water feature or something like that. It's very common. And yeah, like a sort of decent pool and spa with an infloor cleaning system and stuff like that, you're looking at around 150, 160 Australian thousand, plus all the bits that go with that. So we're in a good spot in the market at the moment where people are investing enough to build a good product. And yeah, like occasionally we do some of those crazy jobs, and I wouldn't want to fill my whole year up with stuff like that. But it's nice for us to do, out of 30, we might do 10 pools that might have perimeter overflow or raised spas with water features and strip lighting and all that sort of stuff. So I guess similar to you guys, it can be anything and everything, but that's what we sort of focus on.
Are you ever allowed to, does a client ever allow you to just, design
free
me
rein.
something? Yeah.
Carte blanche.
I came up with a pool design, which unfortunately I didn't get to build. But it was a circular pool with a circular spa, and it was like it looked like the yin and yang sort of shape, but the whole shallow area was like I don't know what you guys call them here, but it was like a beach wading pool, but it was on the rake with the water lapping up at the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like that all the way around, which would have been
That sounds rad.
crazy. And that was one where they're just like, I want something different. I don't want a rectangle. I want something different. And I came up with that, and I put a lot of time and effort into it. And a bit like what I said earlier about putting a bit too much time into someone and getting burned.
Yeah.
It's exactly the case where I'd put, over 100 hours, I reckon, into this design and how we're going to build it, and had the contract sent out, and unfortunately it just didn't work out. Blessing in disguise, I think, because potentially it wouldn't have worked out with a slightly more difficult client and stuff like that. But that client in particular was like, do whatever you want. And I came up with this concept, and I was like, wow, I'd love to build that, but I let that one get away. So
Shit.
I'm going to keep looking for something like that. And it's cool when someone trusts you to go, look, you do this all the time. I want you to come up with something. It's very refreshing, quite empowering, but also quite nerve-wracking.
I was gonna say a little bit of responsibility on that.
Yeah, because a few times I've had a client say, I'm not 100% sure what I want, just can you come up with something? And So, you know, I'll draw a whole concept and have them into the office, and they sit down in the couch like this, and they got the TV. And I'm like, so what do you think? And they're like this. And I'm like, do you like it? They're like, yeah, it's okay. And I'm like,
oh,
right.
My heart.
Oh, you hate it.
I'll go back
Oh,
to the drawing board. Yeah. Yeah.
that sucks, dude.
But there's like, certainly in Melbourne, there's a lot of cool pools being built. Like, yeah, some crazy stuff. As I said, like, I think you guys would be equally as impressed as I am with the hydraulics here, with the structures that we build over there. It's, yeah, it's amazing.
It always looks great. Like whenever I see stuff online on Instagram or whatever, I'm like, you guys are definitely doing good over there.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
For sure. Your plumbing always looks. All the plumbing I see that comes out of Australia is always like parallel, perpendicular, tidy, level, clean.
Yeah.
So
It's a bit like your theory before, though. We only post the good stuff.
Yeah. We don't post the shit that's
Yeah.
messed.
It would be funny to see a blooper reel, like at the end of
Yeah.
the year.
We were gonna do that.
What went wrong?
Greg shot the idea down, but
I can
did.
imagine. Yeah, yeah.
no, we had one job. We were gonna do the video and title it like the one. Remember the one over there in Awatuki, and we were gonna be like just me going in and just cutting it apart with like a chainsaw because it was so bad. We had to redo it all.
Yeah.
But it didn't materialize.
Didn't
but,
surface.
Yeah.
No.
Damn. Maybe next time.
We also did are you familiar with chef's reactions on Instagram? Like the guy who somebody cooks food and he just like watches the video and just reacts to it.
Nah.
Usually terribly.
Nah.
We did one of those, and Greg, I can show it to you. We still have it, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Greg was like, no, we can't do that. That's not good for our image.
Well, I still think it's a good idea. Just
the
maybe
damn
like
the marketing guy. Just having a bit. He's having a bit too much of a say on the marketing.
No, this
Yeah,
is why
too much.
this is why the brand still is good because Greg keeps us in check.
You brought him back from the dead, Greg.
Well, that was funny. So we were taking questions people had on Reddit, and they have a picture of their pool equipment or whatever. And I'm like, all right, so maybe we can like help these people use it as content.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much, it is awesome, but it's really like Justin ripping somebody.
nice.
I'm like,
In my defense, I didn't know that it was. I thought it was going to be comedy where we had to make do like Chef's reaction where he's like,
Yeah.
that's terrible. I would never do that. So
Yeah.
I was just
And it
thinking
was
if it was
pretty- it was
mine,
pretty
I'd be
bad.
like,
I'll
man,
show
I'm
it to
not
you.
a plumber or a pool person.
Yeah.
Just got my
We'll show
ass.
you.
Reddit pools. That's a crazy space in the
I
world.
haven't played in there.
Nah. One of the boys that works for me often will show me stuff, and I'm just like, what the?
In Reddit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially, I mean, most people in marketing always go there because it's almost like a free keyword research tool.
Yeah.
Because you're going in there and you're just trying to see like what the common people are talking about.
So you're actually going in there aiming to get something out of it, whereas we're sort of just looking at it having a laugh. Greg's got the bigger brain here, where he's actually getting in there and he's getting something out of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, not, I mean, there are things in there that are funny, but it's
That's that guy reading
Yeah.
again,
It's all this. It's that big head stuff.
reading
man.
and listening.
looking, yeah. But what kind of marketing are you guys doing over there?
So at the moment, I mean, look, to be completely honest with you, up until this point, I haven't been on much other than Instagram, our website, and we do some magazine adverts as well. I've got 2 like key magazines that are in our area.
Which ones?
One's called Poolside. Have you heard of this?
No.
Another one's called Pool and Outdoor Design. They're both great magazines, like, you know, good platforms. But magazine
Which one has the podcast? Splash.
Splash, yeah.
Oh, there's another publication, Splash Magazine.
Splash Magazine, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but that's more of like a retail
Yeah.
components, equipment, that sort of approach. But the main marketing would be through Instagram, and the biggest one for us is word of mouth. We get crazy amount of work through referrals, which is great, and we're very lucky to get that. But we also work very hard to maintain that sort of reputation. So not uncommon for us to build 2, 3, 4 pools for one person, and then also for their friends and their friends. And yeah, so I guess we've been very lucky that with the network that we have and the amount of work that we do, marketing for us has been more of a bit of fun and enjoyment. And as I said, we at the moment, well, up until this point, have marketed to the employee rather than to the customer. And we sort of marketed our brand as this young, youthful, energetic business that people want to come and be a part of. And yeah, it's worked up until now. And now as we come into a slightly tougher economic situation, we probably need to shift our focus back to the consumer. But Yeah, I love the sort of marketing that we do or don't do, I guess, that you look at our videos, it's nothing like anyone else out there.
Yeah.
It's a bit lighthearted, it's confident, it's energetic, but it's not arrogant and over the top cocky that often you get these videos and you get a guy in his button up shirt and he walks out to the pool and it's all very black and white suit and tie business. We're not like that. And I think that's a very good thing, and it's completely intentional.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, that's weird that anybody would do that, right? I mean, that's not what pools are.
No, that's right. And it's not how pools are used. It's not how people look to enjoy pools. Pools are a casual backyard family environment. And that's how I sort of approach it. And yeah, like the connection we're able to build with clients because of that approachability and stuff like that. Like off the top of my head, I've got a client who's become a really good friend of mine who's got a 3-year-old now. When we built the pool, he was a toddler, and when I was reading the quote, I'm holding on to his kid. And it's like, in what business does that happen?
It's cool.
And to be honest, with what other competitor would that happen? And I wasn't mates with him, mind you, before I started. I've become mates with him as I built his pool. But it's that personal approach that people feel like I am a sort of reliable, honest person. And even things like trusting me to hold his kid, like they're things that they mean nothing, but they mean so much at the same time. So,
yeah. I mean, besides a doctor, I can't think of anybody else.
Yeah,
Be holding somebody
it's
else's
wild.
baby.
Yeah. And it's cool because now I can, like, we maintain that pool on a monthly basis, and I touch in. I say, how's Rome going? And he's invested that I want to know how his kid's going, and it's really cool. That's not what business is meant to be, but that's what it should be. Is how I would look at it.
Jeremy Noggle told me one time, I asked him, I said, Jeremy, like, how do you sell a pool? Like, what's a good way to sell a pool? And he's like, you go and you don't talk about the pool at all. You go in, you meet them, you talk about their family, you talk about their interests, you talk about everything else. You don't talk about the pool at all. I always thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
it kind of plays on the same thing.
Yeah, and the rest comes naturally. That you get a bit of an insight into what they do, how they spend their free time. Are they entertaining people? Are they recluse? Are they like to have a quiet sort of Sunday afternoon by themselves, or whatever it might be? You paint the picture, and then you present they present a problem to you. They say, we want to spend more time at home, or we want to have a safe place for the kids to learn how to swim. You present the solution to their problem, and the rest is just the fun stuff that goes with it.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of fun to be had. Like, it's a beautiful industry that there's so much passion that can go with it if you want to. And
Absolutely.
that's where we are now.
That's
all the way, 14 and a half hours away
Across the ditch.
because of pools.
Right.
Crazy.
I didn't want to forget to ask this. Have you been seeing a lot of the like plungy precasted pools?
We have, yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen any out here, have you?
Oh, really? Wow.
They keep popping up like it's gonna happen, but nobody's got it off the ground.
There's a company out of Queensland called Plungy.
We know about them.
Yeah. And look, I can't comment too much because I've never physically handled a product myself. I've never been able to go and have a look and turn it around. And that's how I like to get to know things, is go out there myself, see it with my own eyes, ask a few questions. So I can't comment too much on that, but they have well and truly solidified their spot in the market in Australia. Well and truly. I would say they've possibly replaced the fiberglass market to a point because of their flexibility and how they can be installed above ground, below ground, whatever you want. It's probably a more premium looking product compared to a fiber. Do you call them fiberglass pools?
We do.
Oh, yeah.
They're rare out here, but we do.
Yeah, okay. So they've found their spot. I don't love them. I don't love the marketing that goes with them. That I think, one local to us says 14 days and you can have a swimming pool. Doesn't factor in any of the stuff that goes with it. All you have is a pool, a filter that's 4 meters away, sitting on one concrete precast panel, and that's it. So I just recently lost a job, actually, that I'd spent a lot of time quoting, designing to a plunge pool, like a precast plunge pool. If you were to ask me, I don't think you can compare the two. They're built for one purpose, and that is to have a cost-effective concrete pool solution for a backyard. Quickly, and a lot cheaper than traditional methods. At the end of the day, my discussion around fiberglass pools used to be, it's still a plastic tub in the ground. in this regard, it's just a concrete tub in the ground, but there isn't that level of, I guess, detail, professionalism. There's no service. It's a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
So we have seen a lot of them. We will continue to see a lot of them. But yeah, I'll sort of continue to do what I can to separate us out and give that personal service that, because they're a numbers game, it's a volume game, you will never get the same personal service. It's just nature of what it is.
Yeah.
That's interesting you don't have them here. I would have thought for sure.
I mean, we've been hearing about them for a long time. We've had a couple of meetings with people about them, but I've yet to hear us even plumbing for any of them.
Arizona is notoriously inexpensive to build shotcrete pools, so it would be hard for anybody to come in here and make a big enough difference in cost to really upset all of the trades who are here doing it a certain way. It'd be hard.
Yeah.
Like if we were charging a premium like Texas or some other places, maybe. But
it's crazy how much
pools
they
are so
look
cheap
like
here.
the septic tanks that the mechanical side does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look identical, but
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody's ever like taken it with them, like, you know, if you move, you know, like
It's
I'm gonna
not-
take this,
I actually had a
crane
job.
it away.
I had a job where he had an above ground plunge pool circle. It was like a circular thing, seat around, had a few spar jets. And actually not too bad for what it was. But he wanted to pull it out and put a proper above ground concrete pool in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he'd bought the house; it was already there. So he said, "Oh, if you can crane it, you can have it." And I was like, "Okay. Well, first of all, what would I do with that?" Because I was just planning on jackhammer it up, break it, chuck it in a truck, see you later.
Yeah.
And see you later, mate.
Yeah. See you later, mate.
But he's like, if you can crane it, you can have it. And for a second there, I was like, what should I do with this thing? And we didn't end up getting the job, so I didn't end up having to worry about what I was going to do with it. But yeah, it's just one of those funny things.
That is crazy.
Yeah, but definitely where Plungy themselves are based in Queensland, there's a huge market for that, because in Queensland the climate's a lot warmer. They have 10 months of the year where you'd want to be swimming. So pools are a tick the box thing there. I can think of probably 2 or 3 pool builders in Queensland that do construction and hydraulics the way we do it in Melbourne. The rest are just, I said to you earlier, it's a hole in the ground, it's got a skimmer, it's got a return, it's got a suction at the bottom, and that's it. One light, off you go. Cheap.
But there's a lot of smaller backyards there too, right?
There are, yeah. And it's the growing issue that we have even with what we do, that the land plots are getting smaller, the houses are getting bigger. So rather than rocking up, like when I first started, to be honest, consultations with the client were quite hard, because you'd rock up, you'd have 400 square meters of backyard. I don't know what that is in what you do, sorry. But you'd have a huge amount of space, and they'd say, oh, well, what can we do here? And you've got like 100 options. You could go here, you could go there, you could put it above the ground. That was a really hard thing, because you had to try and get enough info out of them that you could come up with the right concept. These days, I'll go to a backyard for a new build consultation, and I'll walk out there and they'll have a courtyard that's that big by that big, and there's a bit of concrete there, so the pool has to go right there.
That's it.
And that's it. And like often these days, if I go to a big backyard, I say to people, you are blessed with the worst problem, that you have options.
Seriously.
Because more and more, we're getting less and less room for the pool, the backyard, the landscape.
Yeah.
So we're just left like, oh, all right, here's the house. You just get the bit at the back.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it is crazy.
It's
Yeah.
helping Plungy probably.
It is.
All right. Two questions for you as we end this.
Is this like a would you rather scenario? Or?
Would you rat? No.
Fuck one, marry one, kill one, go.
Yeah. Craziest pool you've ever seen?
Craziest pool I've seen in the flesh that we haven't built would have to be the pool on top of the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. You seen that? It's like the curved. It looks like a boat on the.
Yep.
That is
Insane.
unbelievable, and like that whole pool is built on bottle jacks.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sketchy.
Nah, it's not. It's so that it's not sketchy. So they'll have engineers, like, I think, I'll probably butcher that, but I think it's periodically throughout the day, checking the level, like lasering the pool, and just making like micro adjustments with the bottle jacks to keep the pool sitting in the right spot based on wind conditions, all sorts of stuff.
Crazy.
That is like the craziest pool. You've just got this boat, not floating, but just like
Spanned across,
across these towers. You've got to see it to believe it. And it's one of those things that if you don't know what goes into it, you probably go there and you go, oh, wow, they got a pool on the roof. That's great. But knowing what I know and what you guys know, you'd walk there and you'd be like, how did they do this?
Yeah.
And that was a section.
Were you actually at the top?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the pool's on the roof. Yeah.
But you were up there with it.
I was swimming in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
You get around, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's rad.
The traveling gypsy.
Yeah.
So what's a crazy one offline?
Offline? Like is in...
Like
in
saw on
Australia?
Instagram or
Oh,
something?
okay.
Is there a pool you always think about?
Yeah, well, actually, in our local area, we have like awards each year. And just recently, I'm trying to think of who built it. The person that won the overall pool of the year, crazy pool. Like, the pool was like an egg shape. It had a raised circle, 360-degree wet edge spa. All the overflows were curved, fully tiled.
Mm-hmm.
Just a crazy level of detail that, again, you have to know it to appreciate it. The overflow wall was in mosaics, and in sections they packed them out so that the tiles sat out just further. So when the water came over, it would ripple down the wall.
Yeah.
Just things like that. Like, I really admire the details. I admire what's gone into that and how they've gone from like a concrete box to this amazing pool. Another one that comes to mind is the thing you did with the lazy river with the crazy, like, how big's that?
Yeah,
20
12-inch pipe.
12-inch.
Yeah.
12-inch pipe and things like
Old school.
that. I'm fascinated by that because, again, it's like that thing. I'm blessed with the knowledge that it makes you wonder, how the hell do you build these things?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Have you got like a standout? You would have a standout for sure. Go into the filing cabinet in your head.
It's too difficult because I look at them so much.
Yeah. Okay.
That there's
so
just too
you're
many.
desensitized.
Yeah, I really am.
Maybe, I'll tell you what you could do. Jump onto Coastal Pools and Spas Instagram. You might find something you like.
I probably will.
You probably will.
But I do like odd things around swimming pools. I'll give you one that I just found out, and I thought this was crazy. You know who David Hockney is, the painter? No? You've probably seen this painting before. I mean, it's pretty much him staring at a guy at the bottom of a pool swimming towards him. It's a swimming pool picture. He paints a lot of swimming pool pictures. Famous painter. You have any idea what that painting sold for? No. $90 million. It's one of the rarest like paintings of all time, and it's like super cool that it's like kind of around what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Was it David Hockney?
Yeah.
David Hockney.
What did I say?
No, I'm asking.
Oh, yes.
I'm just making a mental note so I can have a look at it.
Oh,
after
do you
this.
know? You know him?
Yeah. Nah, sorry, I don't.
Oh, my cousin?
Yeah.
Oh, Hockney.
I do know his parents though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Hockney.
Very good. Very good.
What were you going to say, Justin? Sorry, I cut you off.
Before we get too far off, I was going to say, I got one more for you. Favorite pool that you've ever swam in? Hopefully it's not the Singapore pool. Like a pool that you would gravitate to, go back to, your favorite pool from your childhood, your favorite pool ever.
Something I'm intrigued by, and I remember it from recollection from other people. So I was only 3, went to Cape Town. Mm-hmm. I think it was Cape Town. We stayed at this place called the Lost Palace. They had, and this could be because I was only 3, but they had this wave pool. It was like a tsunami. I could swear to God it was like a tsunami, these waves. It had like one of those crazy slides that go down under the water through a tank and back up. Like just one of those really over the top. I would love to go back and look at that, even though these days it probably doesn't look the way it did back then. I think it was quite new.
Right.
But that's something that's always stuck with me, like this crazy wave pool in South Africa. Like, I'd love to just go back and look at it.
That's cool.
And that's like, pools for me have been my whole life, whether it's through what, our family business was or even swimming myself. And I did swimming like a competitively swimming all through my schooling. It actually led to me hating swimming because it almost became a bit of a chore for me. Mm-hmm. But that moment in South Africa when I was 3 years old, I've always remembered it. And whether I've remembered it from my experience or from what people have told me, but I just remember this wave pool was like, yeah, out of this world.
I love it.
I feel like you never forget like pools when you're younger. Like I remember the pool I first learned to swim in and other ones like that. And I'm sure you do too, right?
I do. I remember the first pool I swam in.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? I'm curious. I never thought about that. What's like the first pool that you swam in?
It's called the Hawthorne Country Club. So when I was growing up in Maryland, we belonged to a country club that was like where my mom would take us. Hawthorne Country Club.
Was it one of those ones that
L-shaped.
was like, would have had a free chlorine reading of like 20 parts per million?
For sure.
You come out, your eyes are burning. It's
Yeah.
like, oh no, I love it. I'm gonna go back in, and you like can't see.
I can still smell the bathrooms there.
Yeah.
Still smell the bathrooms because it was just
You think it's still around?
still around. I was just when I took Jen back home, 5 years ago, we went there. We didn't go swim in the pool, but we drove by it.
Like, babe, I just need to go smell this bathroom real quick.
It's the same chloramines.
Yeah.
This is the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Hawthorne Country Club was first. Pools were not common where I grew up. So everybody swam at like a community pool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can I ask one question of you? Like,
Yeah.
let's say in 10 years' time, where do you see yourself, or where do you want this to be?
Yeah. I mean, this likely won't happen, but I want to have everything situated to the point where this company runs like a top without me having to be in the daily operations. In 10 years, I'd like to be able to take what we're doing here and do it in Texas and do it in California and really just like support the industry. I think there's places that don't have what we do here, like in Texas, for example. That's like the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
So I think, elevate the industry in a couple other places and have fun doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's cool. And I can see that the way that you think you're a methodical, procedures-based person, that as much as you got the old rustic beard and,
Yeah.
you're a very, very particular person with what you do.
Yes.
And I think that if you zoom out, that's the easiest way for it to be a repeatable process is when you've got that precision that so many people lack. Yeah. It's like if you can build out that framework that that I could pick up, and maybe I could be a J-Max in Australia.
There you go.
That'd be nice.
J-Max Lord.
Lord Max.
That'd be sick. I think Justin's like very logical too, because he has a lot of like great ideas and what ifs that we go off of each other. But, somebody like him knows what is actually possible, but
Yeah.
you can't fucking do that. That's a really, in a perfect world, that'd be kick ass, but it just can't happen, or it can't happen right now.
Yeah.
It's not the right time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people might not have that, or they just might pull the trigger
Yeah.
on something they shouldn't, or,
And how about you? Next 10 years, what does it look like?
whatever J-Max is doing. Yeah.
Love it.
Alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Hopefully in another state. We've talked about that forever, but it would be really cool to see, like you said, people wearing the flag in other states.
Yeah.
Maybe country, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
We really are trying to do, more than just, plumbing here, man. It's a brand. It's a lot of what we do. We're really trying to give back to the industry.
Yeah.
And we're as concerned with like making sure that the bullshit that's out there doesn't get through our ranks and our stuff, man. So it'd be cool to really just keep pushing that forward.
Yeah. It's like that saying, like the rising tide lifts all ships.
Right.
It's the same back home for me. Traditionally, a lot of people think if you're doing well and you're in the same industry as me, that's taking away from me.
Right.
But the way I view it is if everyone's doing well, it's better for everyone. And if the industry is in a better place, if we're building better products, giving better services, it is the best possible thing that can happen.
I agree.
Yeah.
So where do you want to be in 10 years?
10 years. Well, I'd be hoping that in 10 years' time, I said to Justin earlier, growing up, I had this sort of thing. And when I say growing up, like once I'd turned 18 and had a little bit of a grasp on the business and things like that, I had this thing about wanting to complete the life cycle of our industry. So that started off, it was wanting to be able to teach kids how to swim. So provide a different approach to swimming education, and rather than being the chlorine burning your eyes out, things like that, it was about leaving like a lasting impression that hopefully teaches a lot of people to swim at an early age and gives them that love for the water that I've got and that I've had. So it started off, I wanted to teach kids how to swim. Then I wanted to be able to do design work with swimming pools. I wanted to construct them. Then I wanted to maintain them. And then a little side thing was about removing old pools to install new ones. That was what my brain wanted to do. I don't know why, but I just thought I want to complete the life cycle. That's what I want to do. So as time's gone on, I've probably realised things aren't as viable to complete that from a business point of view. Of course, you can do little passion projects, but we're not talking about exactly a 2-minute, $2 commitment here. It's a big thing. So now predominantly my focus is construction and maintaining swimming pools. In 10 years, I'd like to be in a point where we build 50 pools a year to a really high standard. And similar to you, it'd be in a fashion that's hands off for me, and I can tap in as much as or as little as I want to, but in still an environment where people are part of something. It's that team culture. It's a really strong brand. I hope that in 10 years, everyone knows who Coastal Pools is that needs to. And yeah, I hope that I'm still having just as much fun then as I am now, and just keep it going.
And that you haven't lost that patience.
I haven't lost the patience.
We're gonna check in on that in about
3 years. Please do. In 10 years, I reckon it will have probably reduced a little bit.
Yeah.
But look, I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm so grateful for our clients, our suppliers, everyone. Like through COVID, everyone probably got a little bit frustrated with clients and stuff like that. And one of the presenters at Pace last year actually said it, and really stuck with me, that when did we forget to be grateful for our clients? And it is so true that, like, if you go to a Pace type meeting in Melbourne, every builder there is just going, oh, this client's doing this for me and they're not paying me, and they want me to go there tomorrow, but they took 2 weeks to choose their tile and things like that. It's like, when did we forget that these are the people who provide for us? Like, we can't do what we do without them. And that's a huge thing for me, is that especially those after hours phone calls, the Saturday mornings, whatever it might be, people are busy. And so they might not be able to get back to you straight away. But if I'm in a position to do it or to help, I would always, where I can, I want to do it. And that's sort of the commitment that I'll make from now till the end, hopefully, wherever and whenever that may be.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 years, you'll be 35.
Yeah.
Still pretty young.
Just be getting started, actually.
Yeah.
You
Crazy.
boys better watch out, actually.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Maybe the Lord's coming for the J-Max throne.
The Lord's
Does
force.
that say Lord Max on that truck right there in Phoenix?
Yeah. Who knows what the future might bring? Maybe there'll be a bit of a collaboration there.
I like that.
That could be cool.
Well, thank you very
Intercoastal.
much, Matt. Appreciate you being on the show. This
Thank you.
was
Thanks for having
awesome.
me. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, thanks, man. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
And the beer was great. So once again, thank you to Valley Beer, guys. You don't know what you're missing.